please call the roll.
Winters,
Here.
Benson,
Here.
Eckhart,
Here.
Sherman,
Here.
Hamilton, Hannaford,
Here.
Stelling,
Here.
Wallace.
Here.
Item 4 is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at City Council meetings will be approved by one vote of the Council. Any member of the Council desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items. Item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 15, 2017. Item B, approval of the minutes of the special meeting, June 5th, 2017. And item C, approval of claims in the amount of $102,725.24 and payroll expenses of $244,124.84. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Sherman, a second by Mr. Winters, to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Sherman,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
Item 6, reports from boards and officers. We'll start with item A, the Alva Hospital Authority Board meeting on May 16, 2017.
We'll keep this relatively short. Typical meeting with our CEO and CFO report. We had some reappointments to allied staff and courtesy staff. Our quality report, we had some approvals of some what we're using basically with some of the products that we use for exposure. And a couple of big things we talked about, maybe a couple months ago, having the opportunity to get some rural residents from St. Anthony's, and we did find out that we will be getting that. It'll probably be starting in next February, so we look forward to getting those doctors.
If I can just
Yes.
something that you aren't aware of, we actually had one start today.
Oh, well, it moved up very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for Dr. Hanford?
Where will that one be working out of the hospital or at the clinic?
They're working, they're spending a week here, and they're working out of the hospital and the clinic, all throughout the hospital, ER, acute care.
Yep, they're not
clinic.
physicians.
I don't know if they'll be downtown or not. There's not a physician downtown, so.
I believe it's just going to be.
Okay.
But I believe that the local newspaper editor is going to be writing a story on it, so read about it when we do. Alva Public Library Board meeting on May 16th. Mr. Eckhart.
Okay. Summer reading program started on June 5th. 3 programs held each Monday through July 10th. The kickoff program featured the Kids Shine Mad Scientists from Edmond, Oklahoma. Went over really well. They will not be doing Thursday Library Day this summer because of the summer reading program, but it'll probably start in July after the program's over on Monday, so the kids can have something to do because the pool's not open. Library is, again, a cool zone this summer, which means if anybody's hot in the summer, they can go in there, get out of the heat. The library staff is in process of reviewing and updating all the policies. We're going to be discussing those at more length tomorrow, especially the Code of Conduct policy and Child Safety policy. They did install their new server. Works, from what I can tell, it's worked really well. They had to buy a new laptop for some inventory. That was an inventory laptop that they use for library programs, inventory, travel sessions, things like that. They did hire, fill one of the part-time positions. Amy Ryerson was hired to fill the part-time position at the library. Wendy Youngman retired after being there for 20 years. And then the administrative assistant, Ivana Willis' last day of work will actually be this week. It'll be Wednesday. And they're in the process of filling that position as well. It'll be a full-time spot as well.
Does the council have any questions for Mr. Eckhart? All right, thank you, Chris. Next item is Tourism Tax Board meeting from May 17th. Mr. Benson, would you also give us Finance Committee report at that time?
Okay, we'll start out with the tourism tax, and there were several things on the agenda last month, and you can see those in your packet, but all those were approved. There were like 5 items there. There also, we have a meeting Wednesday evening, not tomorrow, Wednesday evening, for our next monthly meeting, and there are several items on that agenda as well. And I don't think I really have anything else to add to that unless somebody has a question.
Council have any questions? All right.
On the Finance Committee report, we started our meeting today at 4:30. I believe we're going to starting a little earlier so we can get more of our work done, since we are not meeting twice a month for council meetings. We were having a hard time getting everything discussed at meeting at 5:30, so we're going to start meeting a little earlier. Maybe not always 4:30, but probably earlier than 5:30. And we went over, of course, the bills and purchase orders, and there were a few high bills this month, and right now I can't bring them up. If you've looked at those, you have any questions, one of them was the Northwestern Scholarship Fund, and some of them was some asphalt and some oil and different things like that for our road repairs and street repairs. We also discussed the rate structure, but we don't have our study back yet, so we didn't spend much time on it at all. We're waiting on that study to get back to let us know where we are at on that. And we talked about something missing. Our auditor gave us a report on our audit, which we will be looking at as a whole council here later on in this agenda. And I feel like I'm missing something, Bo. What else, or Brandon, that am I not mentioning?
The UPL.
Oh, and we discussed the upper payment limit just a little bit early on in our meeting too. So unless somebody has a question that I'll try to answer, that's all in my report.
Does council have any questions for Mr. Benson? All right, thank you, Bryce. Item D is the Alva Recreation Authority Board meeting on May 25th, 2017. Mr. Sherman?
I was not able to make that meeting.
Then we didn't have a quorum for our regular meeting, so we had a special meeting on the 25th at noon. It was relatively short. We did go over our routine action items and approvals for minutes and finance statements, gave director's report and council report. They approved the budget recommendation, which we proceeded with, and then they did authorize staff to go out for a sealed bid on the construction of shade structures around the softball parks, and that was the meeting on May 25th. I'll have some other comments during my manager's report about the softball pods. Other than that, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or try to.
Any questions, John? Thank you. Next item is the Alva Arena Authority meeting on June 6, 2017. You'll see the agenda, and I think you'll see 2 agendas for that June 6 meeting in your packet, plus the minutes. And I have not had a conversation with the members of that group here lately, but we can catch me.
I had some conversations earlier today with Mr. Hood, and they're pressing forward with the project. They about ready to. I think they're getting pretty close to being ready to start doing something about turning dirt. And, I'm not going to say within the next 2 months, but they're getting closer to actually starting some construction, getting some engineering done. that they'll need some civil engineering done, that they'll need to get done, and some of those items. So they're moving forward.
Is there any questions Joe Don might be able to answer from the council? Thank you. Item F is Board of Adjustments meeting on June 12th, 2017. Joe Don.
During that meeting, the only thing that was actionable was the Bradley Family Trust had asked for a variance to increase their lot coverage to allow for a larger carport, and I believe that was approved. And that was the only action item.
Okay. The airport meeting from June 12th. We tabled discussion and action on chairman and secretary until we knew for certain who the new board members were going to be. They had appointees ready for that board. We did also, it died for a lack of a motion to contract with for painting on the terminal building, and the instruction to the staff was to seek some other estimates and proposals on that project. They approved, or they authorized payment to the auditing firm for the airport's portion of the audit, and they extended the time period for Corey Washburn. There's a policy that if you've got a hangar, you have to have an airplane in it, and if you don't have a hangar in it, the board needs to approve an extension of time for you to get that hangar. So they approved a 6-month extension to get that aircraft. So they approved a 6-month extension for Corey Washburn, which is consistent with what they've done in a prior meeting for another hangar tenant. Talked about washout in one of the drainage channels, and no action was taken on that, but that would conclude my airport commission report. I'm happy to answer any questions. All right. Item H is the Alva Municipal Cemetery Board meeting on June 14th, 2017. Mayor Chafee is with us to give that report, I assume.
Thank you. It's a lot cooler out here than it is up there. Noticed that right away. We had a regular meeting or approved the minutes of the regular meeting on March the 8th. The approval of the minutes on the meeting of April 25th, where we went over the budget. And Sexton Greavy gave his Sexton's report. The fire department, with special permission, burned the north end of the cemetery, and he has stockpiled the trees there to level out the area with a disc. And he has not had an in-paid crew for the past week, but hopes to have one again soon. And he commended the street crew for the work in the cemetery entrance, and reported they are planning to come back at a later time and rake up the excess rock from the chip and seal. City manager reported that the city council passed the budget for the cemetery on June the 5th, 2017, and he also announced that the contract with the Department of Corrections has gone up. It's going to cost us approximately 3 times as much to have the inmates on site, and I believe, Joe Don, that was $120 a month.
That's what it's gone up to per inmate per day, yeah, per month. We'll have a little bit more report on that a little bit later on.
Board member Martin inquired if volunteers could be utilized to upkeep the cemetery. Mr. Dunham informed the board that that would be a possibility. Then we had the discussion and action on adding 2 more flagpoles at the cemetery. I advised that the American Legion would be interested in donating those poles possibly, one for the Oklahoma flag and the second for the POW flag. The question was, would they also have to have lights on them at night? And so we're doing research on that, and the American Legion has it on their agenda to decide whether or not they want to go forward with that project. That motion also carried. We talked about placing the Alva Public Cemetery on the National Registry of Historic Places, and City Manager Dunham informed the board that after review of the application, he does not feel that the Alva Public Cemetery would qualify. He did say, however, that perhaps it would qualify if we had a famous person buried there. And so we're looking for a famous person to follow up on that to try to get on the National Registry of Historic Places. Talked about removal of old trees from the cemetery, and Tom Crenshaw inquired if the public cemetery was responsible for the replacement of memorial trees. And so Angelica and I have been going over the minutes of previous meetings, going back as far as 1946 to see if it is addressed in any of the minutes, and we believe we have found where it has been addressed, and we'll make that report at the next cemetery board meeting. Sexton Greavy reported that no work has been completed on the memorial, Veterans Memorial, but he plans to have more for the next meeting. And then during the session labeled Remarks and Inquiries by Citizens, we had good questions, good suggestions, with most of them complimenting the upkeep of the cemetery. And the board assured those present that we would all try to stay on top of it. I have no further report if you have questions at this time.
And I will just add to it, I've received numerous compliments for both the current upkeep of the cemetery as well as the Memorial Day service that was held. And I want to thank you personally for spearheading that charge and the work that you put into getting all the speakers and everything arranged. I know you have a big place in your heart for that event and that day, and we appreciate it. The community appreciates it, and it was a very nice event. I would let the council ask any questions they might have.
I don't have a question, but I will compliment the cemetery on how well it looked for Memorial Day this year. I thought it looked great.
Thank you.
Question on the historic deal. We're going to look at, make sure that there's nothing that once, if we'd actually do it, it would make a lot of restrictive things that we would not be able to do later on or something because of that designation.
Well, there would definitely be some restrictions that would have to happen as far as buildings have to be kept to historical standards, and there are things that go along with that. But one of the reasons that I don't believe our cemetery will qualify is that there's the buildings that we have on site don't have any archaeological significance about them to place them on the historical registry. That's one of the reasons. That's one of those reasons that I don't think it will apply. And unless there is a person that is buried there that is of some historical significance, and that is the only monument of his life, they typically do not consider cemeteries.
Any other questions?
I have someone in mind. I'll be reporting to you later.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. As far as the mayor's report goes, I'll backtrack a little bit to an airport item I failed to mention. But next June, Alva Regional Airport will be hosting the 42nd annual, I'm going to forget what it's called. It's an all-female aircraft race, 20-some hundred miles from Sweetwater, Texas up to Maine. And Alva will be the first stop on that 10-stop race. And we'll be looking, and that was one where they had apparently become aware of our airport and asked if we would participate. And so we'll be participating in that, and I think that'll be a great event for the airport. We got a year to figure out everything we're going to do to welcome 50-some female pilots, and they'll be commemorating WASP during their whole race. So that should be a great deal.
So will they be here longer than just to stop and get fuel and be gone?
Don't know.
Depends on if they want to win.
I thought maybe they were timed from spot to spot,
Yeah,
and the
that's
time
what
they sat on the ground was
Is it no time? Is it
I
like
think
the
their
group?
overnights are definitely that way. I don't know about their fueling stops, but I think we're still learning
Okay.
what this is going to be. Because I'd like to have some sort of event in conjunction with their stop in Alva, but we're still not certain what kind of event that could be to,
So we are just a fueling stop?
yes.
Okay.
Their next stop, they would have to make it from Sweetwater to Nebraska in order to pass us over. So I don't know if that's realistic or not. It's a long ways. But anyway, it's going to be fun trying to get some things planned for that. And I might steal some of Joe Don's thunder on some of these things, but I do want to recognize the water crew for getting out on Memorial Day weekend and fixing water leaks. I really appreciate their dedication and attention to, it's not good to be out of water anytime, but when it's on a holiday weekend, you're really going above and beyond the call of duty, and that was great. Kids and Cops, Chief Warcutt, your staff, all the volunteers that helped put that on, very tremendous event for our community and the families in our community, and we appreciate all the planning and effort that went into pulling that off. I know we have countless volunteers that deserve appreciation as well, and you've done a good job of getting that out to them as well, and look forward to that being a bigger and better event in the future. Lots of other activities going on. I'm going to try in the upcoming months. I'm going to try to do a better job of getting information out to the community on the good things that are going on in our community, because we all the time as council members are dealing with the issues that arise from aging infrastructures and challenges we're facing because of budget and all of these things, but at the same time there's a lot of tremendous activity and work going on in our community. So help me out. I'm asking for your help. Help me identify those things as they come up, and I'm going to try to do a better job of getting them out in front of people. I've been busy, and we'll get to this later in the agenda, but speaking with current and potential board and commission appointees for appointments or reappointments, and that has consumed most of my last couple weeks anyway, phone calls and conversations. So I'm happy to answer any questions though that council members would have. All right. Mr. Dunham, would you give the business manager's report?
Well, I would like to report on a little deeper report on the increased cost for utilizing the public works crew from BJCC. Currently, just so you know, we're paying about $2 per day per offender, and evidently that was not standard across the board for all Department of Corrections entities. Some places may have been charged more, some places may have been charged less, some places may not have been charged at all. So the higher-ups at the Department of Corrections sat down and developed a new contract and is going to limit or increase the cost for the offender usage. It's going to be $120 a month per offender. To kind of give you an idea, typically right now the city of Alva uses 8 to 12 offenders a day, and our monthly cost is around $350. We can expect that cost to go up to around $1,400 for the same number of offenders. We're going to have to work a little bit more. Well, for the hospital is not going to be allowed to check out offenders unless it's through the city of Alva. System-wide, they're only going to release offenders to municipalities. Now we can check out offenders for the hospital, and we're going to be working with the hospital to do that so they can maintain their help. I'm currently scheduled to meet Wednesday with their maintenance department to see what they're going to be needing. If we had our things also about the current contract is that, we have a contract for 26 offenders a day. We don't get near that many, but if we don't get them, we're not charged for them. So no harm, no foul. In the future, if we were contracted for 26 offenders a day, we will be paying for 26 offenders a day, regardless of whether or not we use them or not. So it's going to be important that we work with entities such as the hospital and within our own staff that we are utilizing only the people we need year-round. We do need to help maintain our right-of-ways. The summer months or when we could use 20. If I could have 20 offenders right now during the summer months, that would help us maintain all the grass and right-of-ways that we need to maintain in a timely manner. But we don't get that many, for one, and in the future, we don't need that many in the winter.
Can you not contract different months?
At this time, no. That is something that they may try to work into a contract, but at this time, no. If we make a contract for this year for 20 offenders, we will have 20 offenders every day. So we're going to have to really evaluate internally how many do we truly need.
So we will for sure get them.
They have made the commitment that since they are charging us for that many a day, we will have them. Now, I think realistically that may not be exactly right, because there's going to be days that they lay up the entire facility. They have a facility-wide lockdown. They do that now. And during those lockdown periods, they're not going to be able to give us.
But are we still charged for that with their?
Right now, we are. What they would trade it out on another day. I mean, but that's what they're saying now, is that we would still be charged for them if we don't get them. In the case of a lockdown, and the way we would trade it out is, say they had a lockdown today, but Saturday before 4th of July, I need inmates. I'll be able to get them.
Who's gonna? I mean, when we have people like someone get in trouble the day of and they don't get to come, so who's going to be tracking that?
They will have to track that, because they will have, if I know some of the offenses may sound petty to me, but they may not let a guy out because he didn't shave today.
I understand, but I mean, are we going to have to do that too, because we want to make sure we're getting our money's worth?
No, it's up to them to make sure we get that offender. Now, where it's going to cause a burden on us is that we've got to make sure that offender's trained and document that the offender's trained. So if we get the same, we get the same two guys every day, and one of the guys decides he's not going to shave today and gets sent back, theoretically they've got to pull somebody else off the yard to take his place, and then they give them to us. But then we've got to make sure that he's trained on our equipment and our machinery. But that would be our responsibility. So it's not going to be an easy transition, and there's going to be some complications, I think. But this is what's being dictated down to the local from the state.
When is this effective?
With the next contract. We have not got it yet. Would assume July 1, but I do not have a contract yet.
Still, it works out approximately $6 per person per day. At $120 per offender, it's a bargain.
So it's still
I mean,
cheapest.
Yeah, it's still cheaper than it's cheaper than hiring somebody. It's less expensive than hiring a body, but it's 4 times what we anticipated on spending a month.
Yeah.
where it becomes a budgetary impact. I did, in the original report, I did send out that we were a sanitation driver down and that there might be experiencing timeliness difficulties. We've replaced that driver now. We had a gentleman that was able to promote from a part-time street sweeper to a full-time sanitation driver, and that's been done. So now we're kind of dealing with being a half a person short on the street department right now. Our last siren testing was on June 5th. With that siren testing, we did implement some the Blackboard Connect phone system to make sure that process is working smoothly, so that when the sirens are activated, the emergency phone can be called an emergency phone call can be made. Hopefully last week you all received your Blackboard call when we started having storms coming in from around the Freedom area. You should have received a call that around 3 o'clock saying that NOAA alert had gone out. And that was the first truly automatic phone call that we've had processed through that system. But during the testing on June 5th, we did find some sirens that were not working. The siren at Young Street and Thunderbird didn't operate and has since been replaced, repaired and put back into service. The siren at down by Westlake Drive is down and is still down. We have the siren back. We're waiting on OG&E to set a little bigger pole, a taller pole for us to put that on in approximately the same location. We were able to get a free of charge a surplus siren from Woodward. We are waiting on our conversion for from the phone line to the radio system, which will be issuing the purchase order July 1. We expect the siren company to come in around first part of August to do that work. But as part of that process, they're going to evaluate our coverage area, and wherever we are weakest at is where this new siren that we got from Woodward will go. But they'll be able to tell and be able to help us determine the location of that, and that's where we're planning on putting that. We did go out for bid and start advertising for shade structures for the rec park. We'll be opening those bids on, it says the April 26th, that's June 26th. So we'll be doing that. Now, we have received unofficial notification of a $200,000 grant from Shared Trust to construct a new burn building for the fire department. The total cost of this building will be approximately $250,000, but none of it will be coming out of city funds. We've got about $16,000 worth of pipe that has been donated from Sandridge. There's some labor that's involved with that. The street department in July will be working on the concrete pad for this building for a couple of weeks, but then we'll put them back to working on the streets. But we'll pull them off for a couple of weeks to help control the costs. This project has the potential of bringing in revenues for the city of Alva. Not only are we going to be able to train our own fire department for Firefighter 1 certification, but we'll be able to bring in others from around the area to train where we've lost them to either OSU or Enid for their facilities. So we'll be able to do additional trainings here that help our sales tax, help our hotel motel tax, fill up our hotel rooms, things like that. The city of Alva is also currently working on updating our customer service policies. I have sent out some examples to staff and to the water department as far as some the water committee for input for some policies, customer service policies that will deal specifically with hardship, cutoff, and resumption of service. So that's something that we'll be addressing both at the committee level in the very near future and at the council level to adopt in the near future. And that would be my report. Be happy to try to answer any questions that you may have.
Does the council have any questions for Mr. Dunham? Thank you, Joe Don. We'll move on to item number 7, presentation of the fiscal year 2015-2016 annual audit by Chris Angel of Angel, Johnston, and Blazing Game PC.
All right, appreciate it. We completed the June 30th, 2016 audit. The actual purpose of the audit, even though a lot of times we look at any recommendation we have and think that's the primary purpose, but really the primary purpose of the audit is that the financial statements that are produced, that somebody looking at these financial statements has our opinion on the front of it that says, we've done enough work on these financial statements that we feel like that a person viewing these financial statements can rely upon them to understand the condition of the city for June 30th, 2016 and the operations for the year ending. So that's really the primary focus. That's the assurance that you're getting when we do the audit of the financial statements. Byproduct of that is also any procedures that we evaluate, because we have to evaluate the procedures to decide how much testing we can do and whether we need to test controls and then assume they're working through that is also in the report. The year here, I might just look at a couple pages real quickly. I went over a little more detail with the Finance Committee, but on page 22, it has the summary of the governmental funds. These are the funds that basically are funded through sales tax, and they don't really charge for their services. That they're just a service you provide the community, that the community provides sales tax and other forms of fees that help pay for that. And the bottom line, and we won't go into a lot of detail unless you want to, the bottom line on the general fund, which is that first column on page 22, shows the decline in the fund balance went from $1.3 million down to $782,000. And the primary issue this year was a 20% decline in sales tax revenue. And so when you have $1.7 million decline in a revenue source you're accounting on, and that's the upshot of what happens. Then if we turn over a couple of pages over to page 26 and look at the last couple line items on the Alva Utility Authority, you can see the fund balances went from $1.6 million down to $1.1 million. So that declined about $500,000 too. So combined, a little over $1 million decline in the fund balances. So hopefully the economics will get, the economy will get better here, and we'll be able to slow that down. But that's kind of the general overview of the finances. You have the hospital authority, but they kind of operate separately, and obviously everybody knows the difficulties that rural hospitals have right now. Fortunately, this community helps support them with some sales tax that helps sustain that operation. Just to go over some of the recommendations we had, I might just in general say we were pleased with the staff, the cooperation we got from your financial staff, and really feel like that as we get to know each other and they get experience that we'll have a good situation here financially. So we had a good experience there. Didn't have any, I have to let you know if there's any real disputes that we had, and we didn't have any real disputes. Sometimes people get real touchy about whether the financial statements look good or they don't look good, and so they might push back, on something like maybe the valuation of receivables. And, the basic principle from our perspective is we don't want to show more than they're really worth. Because we don't want to get the impression to bond people or something like that that your assets are worth more. But we got no pushback, concerns. I was able to put reasonable amounts that everybody could agree upon on all of this. So in the back of the report, actually, the actual financial statements were prepared by your consultants, Crawford & Associates. We actually sent them our report and our findings to them. As I was leaving today, I started printing them off and having noticed that in the back, the current year recommendations weren't actually in your bound report. So I think I was just talking to Angelica, and she said that she got an email, so I think they're sent those updates to include that, because as I left, I sent them a note that did not get in there. But we had just a few recommendations. One recommendation, when we reviewed the purchase orders, that there are a few purchase orders that the dating of the purchase order was after the invoice date. There was one that we couldn't find the original invoice on our selections, but we did find quotes that was the right amount. Two purchase orders, when they came in, they had been adjusted up, which is not unusual because a purchase order really sometimes is the initial document in a purchasing process. So if you don't get that right, it could vary. We're just saying if you adjust those up, just somebody initial that, indicating they still looked at the budget, still verified that we're within our budget. So those are the recommendations on that. And I know you may not have a context to know if it's not an excessive amount of findings in that area, but we did have some recommendations we'd like to communicate to you just so you know. We also noticed that the state statutes and also good finances indicate we want to deposit any cash on hand as soon as possible. State statute says you're supposed to deposit the next business day after you collect it. We noticed 3 months. In 1 month we just tested for that. 3 days during that month they were actually an extra day on getting that deposit in. So we communicated that. We also exceeded our general fund budget by $482,000 last year, and so that indicates there needs to be some communication and tracking that as we go along so that you can adjust that as necessary. Item number 4 was utility adjustments. We made a recommendation that, especially sensitive, and I might say 4 is talking about utilities, and 6 is talking about police collections. Both those areas have cash. In that, we're concerned with anytime somebody has the ability to actually receive cash and write down somebody's account saying, hey, you paid, so I'm giving you credit for this. If they have that ability, do they have the ability to make write-downs and just keep the cash? So the customer thinks everything's paid for, but does the cash actually get to the bank? So to get around that, they might go and make adjustments. So we indicated that we want them to establish somebody independent of the collection process. It could still be within the office. Angelica or somebody independent could review any write-downs and then initial and sign off on those. Then in addition, and item number 5 kind of address this, in addition then is at the end of the month, have a print off of the computer and try to identify all the adjustments that have been made. Because just because we told somebody to tell Angelica when they make an adjustment doesn't mean they actually went and told Angelica every time they make an adjustment. So if she can then, from the computer, identify all the adjustments, and she can make sure that they did come to her. And so that kind of closes in that system to try to limit people that have access to cash also being able to adjust people's accounts. So that's where we're going on those. And then we noticed at the end of the year that the airport didn't actually get an exact inventory of their fuel on hand. We recommend they do that. We actually recommend they do that probably on an ongoing basis, so it helps them assess their, kind of look at that relationship. Maybe the manager of the airport could look at that relationship between purchases and sales to make sure that profit margins stay fairly even. It's hard to do without an inventory, because if your inventory drops 10,000 or goes up 10,000 in a given month, it may make your sales numbers compared to your purchases go off. But if you know how much is in the hole, then you can kind of adjust your numbers and say, hey, yeah, okay, our profit margins are still staying in line. Again, that's just to make sure that all the sales are getting reported and everything is reasonable, so it kind of gives you a management tool. So those are really our findings that we had, and recommendations just to kind of close up the systems a little bit. And again, it was a good process. I think it looks like you get a good staff working on it. So, you may have any questions?
Well, if there are any questions, we do appreciate the time and effort that went into preparing or looking at and then preparing the report for us, and we'll look forward to working with you again next year, or in the next, probably not too.
It won't be long, hopefully.
Won't be long.
Yeah. Hopefully. All right.
Thank you, Chris.
See you later. Appreciate it.
Item 8 is discussion and action on the acceptance of the fiscal year 2015-2016 annual audit.
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2015-2016 annual audit.
I'll second it.
A motion by Mr. Benson, second by Mr. Winter to accept the annual audit for 2015-2016. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Benson,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Eckhart.
Yes.
Item 9 is discussion and action on resolution 2017-006 nominating Joe Don Dunham to the Oklahoma Municipal Retirees Fund Board of Trustees for District 8, serving a 5-year term. We've gotten some information on this, and Joe Don, I'll let you just express further what's going on, but this is a pretty big honor, I think, or a good recognition for the, I guess, the skills and abilities that he has. He's even nominated for this position, but Joe Don, I'll let you speak more to that.
Well, this is a position for our area to go to represent Northwest Oklahoma as in the Oklahoma Municipal Retirement Fund. It's a process very similar to what we go through with OMAG. And if y'all recall, a couple of months ago, we represented some opportunities to nominate some people and to also to vote on some new people for the OMAG board. Would be very similar. This position, if the council approves nominating me, then there would be an election from all the communities that participate in OMRF in Northwest Oklahoma to vote on me or whoever else they may have. Right now, our representative is the treasurer from, our retired treasurer in Watonga, and he is not seeking re-election. I was approached about a year ago to maybe consider it, and would really enjoy the chance to serve Northwest Oklahoma in this capacity. There's really no financial impact, I think, to go along with this, other than a day or so a month, me going to a trustee meeting in Oklahoma City. Any training that would be required would be through the Oklahoma Municipal Retirement Fund, as far as board training. I don't see that as being a big issue. A lot of times they do that in conjunction with other meetings such as OML that I'm at anyway, and things like that. So it is a 5-year term.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2017-006 nominating Joe Don Dunham to the Oklahoma MRF Board of Trustees for District 8.
Second.
I think I got the last one wrong, so maybe I'll get this one right. I don't know. I have a motion by Mr. Benson, second by Mr. Sherman to approve resolution number 2017-006 nominating Joe Don Dunham to the Oklahoma Municipal Retirees Fund Board of Trustees for District 8 serving a 5-year term. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Benson,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Hannaford.
Yes.
Item 10 is
Good luck.
discussed. Yeah.
It's an election.
You know what happened, we know what happens after elections.
Yeah.
Item 10 is discussion and action on resolution number 2017-007, a fiscal year 2016-17 budget amendment in the amount of $6,400 for a National Rifle Association Foundation grant to make improvements to the Alva gun range. Not too long ago, the Gun Range Committee had applied for a grant with the NRA to help with some constructing trap shooting stations as well as some other items. The total request, I'm not sure what the total amount was, but this is only a partially funded request. It will be used for the purpose of helping to add security to the Alva Public Gun Range and to help construct the trap shooting stations. There will be no additional, and this is a resolution to accept the grant funding which will be in turn used for those projects. If I recall, this will not fully fund their plans for the total, both of those projects the way they wanted them, but it'll get them started and get them going in the right direction. So further donations down the road are going to be needed and be sought for the gun range. But in order to be able to use the money, we've got to approve it for the budget, and so that's what this item is. Joe Don, I'd let you add to that if I've missed anything.
No, you pretty much covered everything. This is just a routine resolution to adjust the budget for this purchase because we did not anticipate it or this revenue during our budget process.
I noticed the other night that there looked like they had, across the west side, had like tall chain link post up, and the chain link was laying there, so there's a lot of work that's already been done.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2017-007 for budget year 16-17 with an amendment in the amount of $6,400 NRA Foundation grant to make improvement to the Alva Public Gun Range.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Sherman, second by Mr. Winters to approve resolution number 2017-007 for a fiscal year 16-17 budget amendment in the amount of $6,400 for the National Rifle Association Foundation grant for improvements at the Alva Public Gun Range. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Sherman,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
Item 11 is discussion and action on resolution number 2017-008 to establish an investment policy for the city of Alva, Oklahoma.
This again is a routine resolution we do annually. Just allows the city treasurer and myself to invest any excess funds that we may have during the next budget year.
I hope you're busy.
That'd be nice. We're to make our treasurer earn his keep.
Is there any discussion or questions for Joe Don on this item? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2017-008 to establish an investment policy for the city of Alva during fiscal year 2018.
Second.
Chris? Yes. I have a motion by Dr. Hannaford, second by Mr. Eckhart to adopt resolution number 2017-008 to establish an investment policy for the city of Alva, Oklahoma. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Item 12 is discussion and action on the acceptance of donated Woods County Sheriff vehicle. With the VIN number is in the agenda to be used as a school resource officer vehicle.
Well, we were searching for, and I'd invite each one of you as we complete the evening to take a look at the school resource vehicle that's parked out here front. We were looking for a vehicle for the school resource officers to utilize during the school year. Woods County donated the vehicle to us. Should this vehicle no longer become needed to us, we would return it back to Woods County. But through cooperation with the school, through donations and city funds, we have reskinned. Is that the best way to describe it? We have wrapped the vehicle. But I think it looks really sharp. I think it'll be accepted. It has been accepted by the officers, and something they can be proud of, and something that can kind of draw attention to the school resource program at the school. And again, the school paid for part of it. The city will pay for part of the wrap, and I'm sure we got a little donation there to help do the wrap. But to get it on our books and to get it insured, we needed to formally accept the vehicle, and that's what this item does.
Is there a motion, or are there any questions for Joe Don? I would entertain a motion.
I'll motion to accept the Woods County Sheriff vehicle with listed VIN, donated to be used as a school resource officer vehicle.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Winter, second by Mr. Sherman, to accept donated Woods County Sheriff vehicle as listed to be used as a school resource officer vehicle. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Winters,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
Item 13, discussion and action to engage Angel Johnston Blazing Game PC to conduct the fiscal year 2016-2017 City of Alva and Alva Trust Authority audits for an amount not to exceed $19,850.
Well, you heard Mr. Angel's report. Last year, we did go out for bids to seek an auditor. We got bids in from several very reputable agencies, including Angel, Johnston, and Blessington. They were the lowest and best bid for the audit. At $19,850, we did in our proposal. So we anticipated using them multiple years. This is just authorizing us to make another year's engagement with Chris Angel, Johnston, and Blessingham for our annual audit. Let's just get started on this year's audit.
Council have any questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to engage Angel Johnson Blessing Game PC to conduct the 2016-2017 financial audit for the City of Alva and Alva Trust Authority audits for an amount not to exceed $19,850.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Sherman, a second by Mr. Winters to engage Angel Johnston and Blazing Game PC to conduct the fiscal year 16-17 City of Alva and Alva Trust Authority's audits for an amount not to exceed $19,850. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Sherman,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Benson.
Yes.
Item 14 is discussion and action to approve the renewal of the City of Alva workers' compensation insurance and authorize the mayor to sign the 2017-2018 renewal participation agreement in the amount of $141,012.
This is our annual workers' comp insurance premium. That $141,000 is for the year. We typically only make quarterly payment. We make quarterly payments, so we're not out the entire thing at once. Quarterly payments are anticipated to be $35,253. We will be receiving an interest credit of $1,126 applied against the premium. This premium is down from the premium paid for 16-17, which was $150,362. So we're down about $9,000 from last year as far as our premium cost.
Does council have any questions for Mr. Dunham? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the renewal of the City of Alva workers' compensation insurance and authorize the mayor to sign the 2017-2018 renewal participation agreement in the amount of $141,012.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Eckhart, second by Dr. Hannaford, to approve the renewal of the City of Alva workers' compensation insurance. Authorize the mayor to sign the renewal participation agreement in the amount of $141,012. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Item 15 is discussion and action to instruct the city business manager to work with legal counsel to develop contracts, financing alternatives, and start negotiations with nursing homes to participate in the upper payment limit supplemental payment program. There's been a program initiated that will allow non-state governmental entities to help nursing homes to finance necessary projects for quality improvement, whether that be infrastructure or otherwise. This funding is available through a 60-40 match. Federal government 60, non-state government entity is 40%. And it's a program that may or may not be very long-lived, but it's one that our city has the opportunity to participate in and potentially help out. If we do participate, it will help out both the local nursing homes and potentially some other nursing homes in the state and in our region, and as well it would be a benefit to the local hospital and the city of Alva financially. The Finance Committee met with, who was that? Help me out.
Chris
BKD.
Murphy of BKD.
And Mr. O'Brien from Share Medical Center to discuss all the particulars of it. And I would welcome Kevin O'Brien if he has anything to add to that or to, I guess, present to the council. But essentially, we would participate along with the medical center and the nursing homes in order to get the federal matching dollars back to the state, without the state having to put up the front end of the match. We would get everything we would put up as a match back to us, plus some, as the city. And it could be upwards of $750,000 a year altogether.
I did some figuring after we had our meeting, and if we go ahead and Joe Don secures the nursing homes that we have talked about, we have a capability of pumping almost $2 million into our economy in Alva alone. That would be with Share Nursing Home, Beatles Nursing Home, Share Hospital, and ourselves. A total of $2 million a year for as long as this program might go, which it might be a year and it might be 10, we don't know. But to me, that's a huge amount of money coming into our community for services. And I had some real concerns about it, but after talking to the accounting firm that came up and visited with us and everybody else involved, they answered my concerns, and I believe it's a really good deal, not only for the city of Alva, but nursing homes that would be involved and our local hospital. And I think we ought to pass this so that Joe Don can get started doing what he needs to do and get going in it.
I will say with Bryce's comments, Bryce and I grilled the fire out of that accounting firm on every part. I'm sure Brian can attest to, on every facet of this. I mean, insurance, risk, liability, financial impact, everything that we could ask him, we threw at him, and even some things that probably didn't even halfway pertain to it. But I agree with Bryce on his recommendation.
And I'll add, from the presentation we heard a while back about the UPL, there's still, we can get out of it at any time, so.
Well, with the anticipation of this passing, I do have a meeting with McAfee and Taft scheduled for Friday afternoon. I'm going to be in Oklahoma City for a conference just a couple of blocks from their office Thursday and Friday. I have visited with legal counsel, Mr. Cunningham, a little bit about this. McAfee and Taft is the Oklahoma law firm that is taking the lead on this project. They've already done a lot of the groundwork on it, and we'll be able to start seeing, putting together forms and contracts that we can bring back here relatively quickly. Anything that we do, any negotiations that happen, any contract is certainly going to be brought back to this board for passage prior to, before it's implemented.
As has been, the Finance Committee has been well versed in this, but I know the rest of you may have questions. We've entertained those at this time. If there are no questions, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to instruct city business manager to work with legal counsel to develop contracts, financing alternatives, and start negotiation with nursing homes to participate in the upper payment limit supplemental payment program.
Second.
Have a motion by Dr. Hanford, second by Mr. Sherman, to instruct city business manager to work with legal counsel to develop contracts, financing alternatives, and start negotiations with nursing homes to participate in the upper payment limit supplemental payment program. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Eckhart.
Yes.
Items 16 through 23 can't all be approved with one vote. All right. But I'm going to tell you, we have numerous appointments that need to be made to boards and commissions, as I mentioned earlier. Airport Board, Dale Logston, his term is expiring, and his term was an unexpired term, or that he took over midterm. In talking with all members of the Airport Board and Mr. Logston, we feel like Mr. Logston should be reappointed at this time. Hayla Simon is on the Board of Adjustments and is willing to continue on in that capacity. I've spoken with her, and she feels like she still has things to contribute there, and I would love to see her continue to do so. We will be looking at 2 new members for the Board of Adjustments. Jared Hayda will be taking the spot of Lenny Reed, and I've spoken with Mr. Reed and Mr. Hayda regarding Mr. Reed stepping down, as well as Mr. Hayda moving forward into that position. Both are on board with doing so. Lisa Kohlmeyer will be taking the spot for Paul Barton, who has become unable to, commit to another term, although he would like to be considered for other things in the future, and I think that would be good for us to keep in mind. But Lisa is willing and able to serve in that capacity as well. Met with Linda Martin regarding a 6-year term for the cemetery board. As we heard earlier from Mayor Chafee and some of the things that are going on in the cemetery, things are going really well, in my opinion, and I see no need to change that. Linda's willing to continue on in that capacity, so I would recommend we appoint her. Library board is another one that I feel is doing real well. David Kavorvik and Lenny Reed both have terms that are up for reappointment, and so I would ask, and they're both willing to continue serving, so I'd ask that we reappoint them. And Matt Adair has a 3-year term expiring here with the Planning Commission. He also is willing to continue serving. The only appointment that I lack on this list is that for Jerry Colress, and I have had conversations regarding his position on the Planning Commission, and I have also talked with Bryant Gingrich about the position on the Planning Commission. Discussing with Jerry, he's been on there a long time, and he would continue to serve if we needed him to, but he is very understanding of opportunities to get new people involved, and we would have his blessing to take him off of this Planning Commission if there was someone that the council thought would be fitting. Like I said, I've talked with Bryant Gingrich, and he's willing to serve in that position, but we didn't get that commitment until after the agenda was posted. So that will be on the next agenda for whenever we meet, whether that be special or regular meeting, that we'll have Bryant on that agenda meeting. But all of that said, I'm happy to answer any questions about items 16 through 23, and if not, I would entertain motions one at a time to approve these appointments and reappointments.
Make a motion to reappoint Dale Logston to the Airport Commission for a term of 5 years ending in June 2022.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Sherman, a second by Councilman Winters to reappoint Dale Logston to the Airport Commission for a 5-year term ending in June 2022. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Sherman?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Eckhart?
Yes.
Stelling?
Yes.
Benson?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
17 is discussion and action on the reappointment of Hayla Simon to
I'll
the
make a
Alva Board of
motion.
Adjustments for a 3-year term ending in June 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Benson, second by Winters to reappoint Hayla Simon to the Board of Adjustments for a 3-year term ending June 2020. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Benson?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Stelling?
Yes.
Eckhart?
Yes.
Item 18 is discussion and action on the appointment of Jared Hayden to the Board of Adjustments for a 3-year term ending June 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Sherman, second by Winters to appoint Jared Hayden to the Board of Adjustments for a 3-year term ending June 2020. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Sherman?
Yes.
Winters?
Yes.
Stelling?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Eckhart?
Yes.
Benson?
Yes.
19 is discussion and action on the appointment of Lisa Kohlmeyer to the Alva Board of Adjustments for a 3-year term ending June 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Winters, second by Sherman to appoint Lisa Kohlmeyer to the Board of Adjustments for a 3-year term ending June 2020. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Winters?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Eckhart?
Yes.
Stelling?
Yes.
Benson?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
20 is discussion and action on the reappointment of Linda Martin to the Alva Cemetery Board for a 6-year term ending June 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Eckhart.
Yeah.
Winters, motion by Winters, second by Eckhart to reappoint Linda Martin to the Cemetery Board for a 6-year term ending June 2023. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Winters,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
21 is discussion and action on the reappointment of David Kvorvik to the Alva Public Library Board for a 3-year term ending June 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Eckhart, second by Winters to reappoint David Kvorvik to the Alva Public Library Board for a 3-year term ending June 2020. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Benson.
Yes.
Item 22, discussion and action on the reappointment of Lynn Reed to the Alva Library Board for a 3-year term ending June 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sherman, second by Winters. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Sherman,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sure they will all, I'm not done. 23 is the reappointment of Matt Adair to the Alva Planning Commission for a 3-year term ending June 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Winters, second by Sherman to reappoint Matt Adair to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term ending June 2020. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Winters,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Eckhart.
Yes.
Now, thank you all. I will let them know they were all unanimously approved, and I'm sure they will be very grateful for that. Item 24 is discussion and action to enter into executive session pursuant to State Statute 25307B2 to discuss negotiations with IAFF Local 3782, Alva, Oklahoma.
All motion to enter into executive session pursuant to 25 OS 307B.2 to discuss negotiations with IAFF Local 3782, Alva, Oklahoma.
Second.
Motion by Winters, second by Benson to enter into executive session to discuss the firefighter union contract as in the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Winters,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
We'll go into executive session like that. It's the council, business manager, legal counsel, and clerk to remain, and we'll call the rest of you back in when we return to regular session. Return to regular session from executive session. And item 26 is discussion and action on negotiations with IAFF Local 3782, Alva, Oklahoma, fiscal year 2017-2018 contract. We have discussed the contract, and
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the contract as presented with the IAFF Local 3782, Alva, Oklahoma, for fiscal year 2017-18.
Second.
have a motion by Mr. Benson, second by Mr. Stelling to approve contract with IAFF Local 3782, Alva, Oklahoma for fiscal year 2017-2018. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Benson,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Okay, item 27 is remarks and inquiries by citizens. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker, and the speaker is asked to identify himself or herself. Does anyone have any public comment to share with the council this evening? Thank you for being here. And item 28, remarks and inquiries by council members.
I'd just like to say, Mayor, that I know everybody probably already is, but continue to pray for Randy Hamilton and Mary. She's been down in the city for almost over 2 weeks now. It seems like every minor complication that can happen with what should have been a pretty simple process has happened. And so just continue to pray for them and their family. And then also I'd like to commend Gulp and Gallup on a great program this year. feeding kids during the summer and also getting them active and getting them out and doing things. I know that they've partnered with a lot more people this year, like the Menagerie and Kids for Cops and stuff like that have come out and done a lot of things. Holder Drug did some presentations for them, and it's been a really great program.
I went with them to the Menagerie, and it's a petting zoo that it had the potential to be even a bigger zoo with that many kids out there, but it really went very well. The goats were eating sandwiches with us and all that. Kids had a blast. They really did. So it was a lot of fun. And that committee started something really great last year. I'm glad to see them continue it.
I want to echo the mayor's thoughts on the kids and cops thing that happened in the park a week or so ago. I don't think they had quite as big a crowd as they were hoping for. But I thought they did have a good crowd and a good start for something that I think will grow in the future. I also wanted to, I didn't say anything at the agenda time and probably should have at that point, that I'd like to commend Fire Marshal Miller for the work he's done on the fire structure donation that he's got money from to build. I think that'll be something that's not just good for our firefighters here locally, but even the surrounding communities or our small rural fire departments that can come in here and train. It'll be a good thing. So I just want to commend Marshal Miller for that work.
I know some of the volunteers are out. I think they're working on it this evening, helping with the fence and stuff, trying to get it,
All right. Well, between now and the next time, we'll have had the 4th of July celebrations and everything, so everybody have a safe and happy holiday, and be sure to come out and check out what we're doing here at the park that evening, or that day. So, all right. I will, if there's no other comments, I will close the Alva City Council meeting and open the Alva Utility Authority meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Winters.
Here.
Benson.
Here.
Eckhart.
Here.
Sherman.
Here?
Hamilton. Hannaford.
Here.
Stelling.
Here.
Wallace.
Here.
Item 3 is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AUA meetings will be approved by one vote of the authority. Any trustee desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items. A, the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of May 15, 2017, and B, approval of claims in the amount of $87,332.82 and payroll expenses of $64,127.77.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
A motion by Sherman, second by Winters, to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Sherman.
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Eckhart.
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
Stelling.
Yes.
Hannaford.
Yes.
Benson.
Yes.
Okay, we'll close the Alva Utility Authority meeting and open the Alva Economic Development Authority meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Winters.
Here.
Benson.
Here.
Eckhart.
Here.
Sherman.
Here?
Hamilton. Hannaford.
Here.
Stelling.
Here.
Wallace.
Here.
Item 3 is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AEDA meetings will be approved by one vote of the board. Any trustee desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items. A, the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of May 15, 2017, and B, approval of claims in the amount of $309,656.83 and payroll expenses of $20,867.17.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Eckhart, second by Winters to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Eckhart.
Yes.
Winters.
Yes.
Stelling.
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
Hannaford. Hannaford,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Benson.
Yes.
Thank you all.
So,
Yeah.